What if everything we've ever been taught about being a man is based on a distorted version of masculinity? For centuries, men were deeply integrated into the fabric of life, embodying roles that were both strong and nurturing. But everything changed with the Industrial Revolution. The demands of a new era pulled men away from their homes, away from their families, and reshaped what it meant to be a man. Since then, the ideals of masculinity have been dramatically altered, evolving from a balanced combination of strength and emotional connection to a narrow focus on stoicism, endurance, and isolation. This shift has left many men disconnected from their true selves, struggling to meet expectations that don't align with who they really are. And today, I want to explore how this modern understanding of masculinity, shaped over the past 200 years, may not only be outdated but also detrimental to our well-being and relationships. It's time we redefine what it means to be a man. Before the Industrial Revolution, men's lives were closely entwined with that of their families. Most men worked in agriculture or trades, professions that allowed them to stay near home. They were not just providers, they were active participants in the daily lives of their families. The work they did was visible to their children, who watched and learned, not just about the skills involved, but about the responsibility, perseverance, and values that held their community together. Fathers in particular played a crucial role in this environment. They weren't just distant figures who came home late at night. Instead, they were present, guiding their sons through the journey of manhood. This daily interaction created a strong father-son bonds where skills and values were passed down naturally. It was a time when being a man meant more than just working hard. It meant being a mentor, a teacher, and a role model for the next generation. The Industrial Revolution, it marked a dramatic shift in the lives of men and their families. As industries grew, men were pulled away from their homes to work long hours in factories. And this separation from family life had profound effects. No longer were men able to spend their days teaching and guiding their children. Instead, they were absent for most of the day, returning home only to rest before another long shift. This distance not only reduced their presence, but diminished their influence in the upbringing of their children. One of the most significant losses was the breakdown of the father-son relationship. The traditional role of the father as a mentor and guide was eroded. Young men were left to navigate the complexities of growing up without the daily guidance and wisdom that their fathers had once provided. This loss of direct mentorship created a void, leaving boys to figure out what it meant to be a man on their own, often with little more than societal expectations to guide them. The demands of industrial work also took an emotional toll. The harsh conditions, long hours, required men to suppress their emotions, to become stoic and hardened just to get through the day. Now, over time, this emotional suppression became a defining characteristic of masculinity, further distancing men from their families and their ability to express vulnerability or affection. This emotional disconnection, born out of necessity, would go on to shape societal expectations of men for generations to come. As industrial society took hold, the qualities that define masculinity began to change. Stoicism, strength, and endurance became the new hallmarks of what it meant to be a man. These traits were seen as essential for surviving the harsh realities of industrial work, where emotional expression and vulnerability were liabilities rather than strengths. The nurturing and emotionally expressive qualities that had once been integral to manhood were pushed aside, replaced by an ideal that valued toughness above all else. This shift was further reinforced by the dehumanizing nature of industrial work. Men were often reduced to mere cogs in a machine, valued more for their physical endurance than their individuality or emotional depth. The competitive, cutthroat environment demanded that men be tough, unfeeling, and disconnected from their emotional and relational needs. To survive and succeed, many men adopted this hardened exterior, internalizing the belief that to be a man meant to be invulnerable, even if it meant sacrificing their own humanity. The absence of fathers in the home had profound effects on children, particularly boys. Without the daily presence and guidance of their fathers, many boys struggled to understand their own identity, emotions, and what it meant to truly be a man. The lack of strong, nurturing male role models left them adrift, often forcing them to turn to their peers or society's increasingly narrow definition of masculinity for answers. This often led to confusion, emotional suppression, and difficulties in developing a sense of self. The broader societal consequences of these changes have been significant. As men become more emotionally repressed and disconnected, these traits were passed down through generations. Increased aggression, emotional repression, and a persistent disconnect between men and their families have become common issues. These societal shifts have contributed to a culture where men feel isolated, misunderstood, and unable to express their true selves, perpetuating a cycle of emotional disconnection and strained relationships. It's time to challenge the status quo. The modern ideals of masculinity, which prioritize stoicism and emotional suppression, need to be questioned. We've been conditioned to believe that strength is synonymous with silence, that to be a man means to endure without complaint. But this narrow definition of masculinity is not serving us. It's keeping us from living fully and authentically. It's time to reject the outdated notion that vulnerability is a weakness and to embrace a more balanced masculinity, one that includes emotional expressiveness, nurturing relationships, and a strong connection to family. This is the path to a more fulfilling and holistic understanding of what it truly means to be a man. Now, for me, this realization, it didn't come easy. My journey of redefining masculinity was born out of a period of deep introspection and challenge. See, there was a time when I equated my worth with financial success, believing that providing materially was the core of my identity as a man. But when those external markers of success were stripped away, I was left to confront the void within. Through this experience, I came to understand the importance of authenticity, vulnerability, and redefining self-worth beyond traditional masculine norms. I learned that true strength lies in being honest with ourselves, in embracing our emotions, and in connecting deeply with those around us. This journey also highlighted the critical role of mentorship and the community. Men need spaces where they can connect, where they can share, and where they can grow together. A strong, balanced masculinity is not built in isolation. It thrives in connection, in the sharing of experiences, and in the support of a community that values emotional intelligence and a clear sense of purpose. So now it's your turn. I encourage you to start questioning your own beliefs about masculinity. Are they serving you or are they holding you back? It's time to seek out a more balanced and fulfilling approach to manhood, one that allows you to express your true self, connect deeply with others, and live with purpose. So if you're ready to take that step, I invite you to explore the programs and the content that I've developed to help men like you redefine masculinity, to cultivate emotional intelligence, and to lead more authentic lives. Together, we can break free from outdated norms and create a new vision of what it means to be a man.